right. It is 1:30 Central Time, so good afternoon for those of you Central or East Coast. Good morning to those of you in Pacific. We'll go ahead and we'll get started. I can see that there's still people logging on. That's fine. We have some intro conversation before we get into the meat of the presentation. Thank you so much to everybody who's taking the time to join us for our first of what we think will probably be many Ask the Expert webinars hosted here by Bravo. And really a big thank you to our panelists as well for joining us and just being on board to lend their perspectives and their expertise to fellow pawnbrokers, to other business owners, to really help you gather some informational and educational information around certain tech decisions that you may be considering right now. My name is Kathleen Owen. I'm the head of marketing at Bravo, and I'm really just going to be acting kind of as the moderator and the host today. I think although Bravo is hosting this webinar today, we really are here just to facilitate a very honest, transparent discussion among community members of the pawnbroker community. And so we do encourage throughout this presentation very direct questions if you have them to our panelists, and we also encourage very honest and direct responses from our panelists as well. We do not want to approach this as any sort of product pitch or company pitch, and you'll see that our panelists have a breadth of experience in different areas as well. And so we really encourage you guys on the line today to tap into that breadth and that depth of experience and gather the information that's going to be helpful for you. So today, just the way that the agenda is going to go, we are going to kick things off with some questions that we have for the panelists, really just to frame up the conversation, some questions that we get often from customers and from prospects as well. So that's how we'll kick things off and direct some of those questions to specific panelists based on who they are and the types of businesses that they run. Certainly feel free to jump in with questions in the chat or the Q&A during that time, and we'll get those answered. But then at the end, we want to leave plenty of time to really open the discussion to a much more open forum Q&A, which is an attendee-led Q&A session. And so again, we'll be monitoring the chat and the Q&A, and we want to make sure you get all of your questions answered. Just a few housekeeping items. We are recording today's session. Actually, I'm just going to double check that and make sure that we are recording this. Yes, okay, we are recording today, and so we are going to be sending you a copy of that recording. And so keep a I'm sorry, I'm just having a little bit of issue with my slide deck here. I could go back. Either way, we'll keep on moving forward. So we will be sending you a recording. We'll send those out tomorrow along with some relevant content, so just keep an eye out for those emails. If at any point there's anything that you want to delve deeper into specifically with someone from Bravo, certainly reach out to us via phone or email, and you can do that straight from our website as well. So thank you again. Without further ado then, I want to go ahead and I want to jump in and introduce the real stars of the show, our panelists today. We have Toby, who's the owner of Toby's Pawn Shop. He has 2 stores in Virginia. A lot of experience in the software as a service or the SaaS industry, and really kind of understands that business model. So he'd be a great person to tap into if you have questions about what to be looking for from a tech partner. He also is very well versed in QuickBook integrations, which we know some of you will have questions about. So feel free to direct any sort of questions about that to Toby. Then we have Noel. Noel owns a few stores in Alaska, and he runs them with his son. Again, someone who has seen the value in technology and helping him grow his organization and meet his goals. He has used other solutions in the industry like PawnMaster, so a great person to ask direct questions if you're looking for some information as you evaluate tech platforms. He also uses several different channels, e-com and mobile, and has rolled those out kind of strategically and one at a time. We have Dallas, who's the owner and president of Oxford Pawn Shops, single store in Mississippi, very kind of methodical about his purchase, has recently adopted mobile pawn, so a great person to ask questions to about how mobile is changing the way that he's doing things and enhancing the experience for his customers. And recently switched to Bravo in October as well. So again, someone who, if you have questions about making a switch to a new platform, or maybe you're looking at tech for the first time, just an awesome resource to tap into. Then we have Mark, the owner of Albert's Pawn. Mark has several stores, I believe 5 stores in Tennessee, high utilizer of the Bravo platform, very strategic in his decision-making around what technology he's invested in. So great person to ask questions to about how to make a good quality decision as you're evaluating tech for the first time, or perhaps migrating from a different platform. And then lastly, we have Brian, the VP of Tom's Pawn Shop. Brian has multiple stores in Texas. Something that sticks out and I think is really unique to Brian is he's extremely employee-centric. And so he's a great person to tap into if you have questions about how technology is enabling and empowering employees, how to roll that out, maybe manage that change. So a great person to talk to about employee experience and customer experience as it relates to tech. All right, so let's just jump right in. For all of our panelists, I'm going to ask you guys to each take a stab at some of the questions that are on this screen here. Just take maybe 45 seconds to a minute and a half to answer these. You'll just want to make sure you're unmuted as well. So we want to talk about market perspectives, and here are some of the things that we'd like you guys to just share with our attendees. So how is tech helping you adapt to the changes, right? We know that there's a ton of stuff that's changing in the market, not just with COVID, but even prior to the corona outbreak. They're shifting customer and employee expectations. And then some other things, if you're able to, and this is experience you have, when and why did you decide to start selling online, right? How has kind of the market shifts informed that decision? And for those of you who are using mobile, if you could talk about why you've chosen to shift to mobile and how that's impacting your business. So I'll start, Toby. Why don't we have you start?
Sure thing. You can hear me all right?
Yes.
And I'm wearing pants, by the way. The Zoom thing, these new paradigms are. So I just want to make sure that all the other, don't stand up if you're not wearing pants. In all honesty, I don't do a ton of online sales. What I've done is kind of narrowed my business model to capture as much of my local market as I can in things. So I've done online, and I've used Buy and eBay. I'm very selective with how I do that. So I'm not the expert with online. But the biggest things I can speak to would be mobile pawn and kind of this new paradigm we're seeing. One of the things that's been critical in the last few weeks is being able to communicate with my customer base. And it's almost impossible to do that unless you have the ability to text or to do push notifications from mobile pawn. So push notifications are much more effective, in all honesty. They're really easy to get out there. And so what I've done, like for example, we've been open most days, but being able to communicate with my entire customer base that, hey, we're going to be closed on Saturday to give my employees a break. And we've done that for the last few Saturdays. I can do that really easily, set up a mobile pawn push notification and a text message if I don't have them on mobile pawn the day before. And at 9 o'clock on a Friday, everybody gets a message saying we're not going to be open on Saturdays, but come in on Mondays. So mobile pawn's been huge for me, by the way. I tout that to people all the time. The return on the investment has been, because there is an investment as far as little pieces and parts that you're giving up every time someone does a transaction, but they've been worth it by far. So that's been my experience so far.
Great, thank you so much. Noel, why don't we move to you, and if you can talk about some of the shifts and things that you're seeing in the market or customer and employee expectations and how you're adapting to those things with by using technology.
He's having a hard time joining.
Oh, he is? Okay.
So I'm working with him.
All right, no problem. We'll move to Brian then.
Hey guys, y'all get to see me do Zoom in the truck driving, so I do have pants on. So, so I've got an example. I actually just left one of our stores, and a customer was in there, and I was showing him some tools, some Starrett tools in the showcase, and he was he said he was online a while ago, and he's noticed we had a different type of tool on our online app, and it's things like that. That's two of the reasons I switched over, decided to partner with Bravo is one, the mobile pawn app, where people can see their loans and lettways on the app, but two was so I could have a store branded website for the very purpose of what I just experienced 30 minutes ago, and that is someone at home in our area looking on our store branded website or via or the mobile pawn app, however he's looking, and they're looking for our inventory and then coming in our stores. So it's something that I've never had. That has been a big benefit for us.
That's fantastic. So if I don't mean this to sound like a leading question, but I mean, that is one of the things that we do talk about with, with Bravo, is the fact that people are doing a lot of shopping online, evaluation online, but they still may want to come in, right, and have that in-person experience. But it's actually driving foot traffic. And
to touch on that some more, what we're also seeing people in our area purchase things on the app, and then they'll just come in the store to pick it up.
Great, thank you so much. Dallas, how about you? Can you talk a little bit about, what you're seeing in terms of differences in the customer expectations and how tech is perhaps helping you meet those customer expectations?
Same as myself as Brian. I've never had the mobile app with some other companies that I've been with, and it was real hard for me to get on board thinking that the technology was too advanced for my customers. But what I'm seeing more of right now is most of the customers that I thought would never be on mobile pawn, I've got more responses out of them and wanting to accept the technology and appreciate the communication I have with them now, because like Toby was saying, through the push notifications, sometimes the phone numbers change and we don't have the right one in the computer or whatnot, but I find that if they get a new phone, they download all the apps, and you still have that connectivity to your customer base that they're really taking off. Like I said, I just joined Bravo in October, went live with the mobile pawn around January, and I mean, there's nothing more than I like to come in my store in the morning and see 10 receipts on the printer from payments made overnight. The store branded website, through where they get to see that my inventory, is so effective for me when I go out to the public and somebody's asking me, they see my shirt, oh, hey, what do you got? Do you have this? And I say, hey, just go to oxfordpawnshop.com, check it out. And I find more people in my local area community are getting to see more of my inventory. And like Brian said, it's forcing them to come in here, because I kind of had a fear that if I did have this mobile app, customers would stay away or, use the mobile app and not come in my store as much. But really, I'm seeing the direct opposite. The more people download mobile pawn, they're coming in my store more often because they're seeing things. And it's just the marketing ability through mobile pawn has been great. I mean, there's nothing like it in the industry, and it was one of my main deciding factors to go with Bravo, for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. We love hearing success stories, right? I mean, we really want to be developing technology that actually empowers and enables pawnbrokers to be hitting their goals, whatever those are, and helping improve that customer experience. So that's great. We want to provide actually relevant solutions. So that's great to hear. And Mark, we saved the best for last. What about you? What perspectives do you have to share with our attendees today?
Well, we were with another company for about 17 years, and they did a great job of database management, but that was about all that they did for us. With the changing times, we needed to make a change evaluate a bunch of different companies for software. We picked Bravo because of the technology and their aggressive approach to innovation. They had the best. They weren't the cheapest people out there, but the value that they gave us was way beyond what their charges are. So we went live with them in the 4 stores in December and January, and we've just, I guess, as of February, we started rolling out Mobile Pond. Already seen an uptick in the renewal rate. People are becoming more comfortable with it, and they're renewing sooner rather than waiting for when they can get into the store. We've been able to use, as Dallas said, the push messaging and the text to communicate with our customers, and in this changing time. And we have it's been very interesting. We'll send a text through Bravo to our customers. They will respond back through email to us, and we're able to keep a running dialogue. And we also have, through our Facebook page, they ask us questions also, and we're able to respond through Bravo to them that way. So it's been really, really beneficial in terms of changing to the current market conditions, and also moving us into being in the state of the art.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I did want to just mention, I do see some kind of very product specific information coming through the chat. It looks like Tally is responding to those. But some of the questions that are being asked, I think we'll also address those in the open forum as well. All right. So
Kathleen, I would just add to that, to what Mark was saying. One last thing, sorry, about the Mobile Pond, is that obviously with social distancing, some people have said to me, hey, can I pull up to your store and pay you? Can you come out? Can you take a payment? And we're able to say to them, no, you don't have to. If it's okay with you, we'll send you the download link to download the app. And that's been huge in recent weeks. So
that is great. Don't ever apologize for jumping in and talking about, great benefits of the product. That's fantastic. It's great for people to hear. So these next sets of questions, I'll direct these to Toby. And do we have Noel on? Maybe he may still be. So
I'm here.
Oh, great. All right. Awesome. Good. Welcome. All right. So Toby, we can start with you, but can you talk about, I know you've touched on a little bit of this, but just, we likely have some listeners here who are perhaps considering tech for the first time, right? We know that there's change management that comes with that. We know that there's some fear of am I going to get the return on my investment? So can you speak a little bit about, why you've chosen to make tech investments? If there's efficiencies you've gained, where have you seen that? How is it helping you perhaps overcome certain challenges or reach certain goals? And, kind of the idea of having an integrated platform as opposed to a bunch of point solutions, if there's efficiencies and effectiveness that you're experiencing. Could you touch on a few of those things?
Sure. Yeah. So I came from a little bit of a high tech background with my previous employment. So it wasn't as big of a leap. What I would say to people who are intimidated by that, because I know the pawn industry has people from every demographic. What I would say is get yourself someone that's really savvy, in your shops, in your stores, that can kind of adopt and roll out these things. If you're not the person, get somebody that can, because it does. So one of the things, renewal rates, one of the other panelists was saying, just it's the language of the day. So if you're running the 21st century, if you're trying to run a 21st century shop in a 20th century paradigm, with a 20th century paradigm, expecting that every person's going to have to come in and put cash in your hand, it's your renewal rates, your forfeit rates are going to go up, your renewal rates are going to go down, especially in times like this. So if you had the ability to tell people, hey, you can just do it from home with a card, that's absolutely 21st century kind of business. You have to be in that world if you're going to survive in the 21st century. So what I see is forfeit rates that are going down, lower forfeit rates. And right now, I know that people are thinking it's coming. The forfeit rates are going to go up. So that's one thing that's been really great. I'm trying to think of what other questions you had there. Integrated platform. One of the things. So you were saying tech, having a cloud-based software where I don't have to constantly have specific knowledge of every product that's in front of me. I start typing it in, and automatically the exact model and specifications of what I just started typing, if I'm taking a pawn or taking a buy, are there in front of me. So having that cloud-based platform the database is constantly being updated is huge. I came from Pawnmaster. I was there. So I started in 2011. I had Podmaster for a couple of years in 2013. So for 7 years, I've been with Bravo. But that's and it's changed a lot in 7 years. But that was one of the things that brought me from the beginning, was being able to leverage that database that's there and constantly evolving.
Great, thank you. I think it's really relevant you bring up cloud, right? Those are discussions we have a lot as well. So I appreciate you sharing some perspective on that and the advantages you see to a cloud-based platform. Noel, how about you? Would you share, why you've chosen to make investments in technology and how you've seen that kind of reshape, or improve certain areas in your business?
Yeah, sure. I was a technology consultant for 10 years before I started the pawn business. So I had a background in technology. I provided consulting services to businesses, small and large, to help them implement technologies to either increase their opportunity or reduce their expense associated with going to market. So it was always part of my plan, even when I went to Pawnmaster. What sort of appealed to me at the time back in the day was that they had a software that they claimed to be updating on a regular basis. And I could run it on a terminal server in one place and then have 4 stores connect to that terminal server, and I could deploy a new store with a router, a thin client, and very minimal deployment of tech to a new store. So there was no cloud offering at that time, and it was something that I really wanted because I wanted to update my software in one place, and I had 25 terminals. What you guys have given me and why I jumped so eagerly at Bravo is the ability to not have to ever update my software even in that one place. It's done for me, and it makes life extremely simple for us managing 4 stores over 350 miles between each other. I used to have to go to a store and do updates, and that's a thing of the past. The main reason that I switched to Bravo, though, was that I had been bugging Pawnmaster for 5 years for a mobile app. I saw the need to give customers the convenience of being able to look into their own loan portfolio and decide, which loans to pay, when was interest due. Even if they couldn't pay it online, I sought a way for them to be able to get that information without having to contact my store. We all get those calls every morning times 50. Is my loan due? How much do I owe you? When can I come in and pay it? And with the mobile app, our phone does not ring for that call nearly as often. Instead, we come in the morning, and there's a roll of receipts on the printer where people have been paying interest all night long while our store was closed. It's basically turned us into a 24-hour-a-day operation. We've got about, I think between our 3 stores, we got somewhere around 500 people since about January that have subscribed to our mobile app, and they're using it to make purchases. They're using it to make layaways. They're using it extensively to make payments. They're using it to see what's available in our stores. Right now, we're offering $100. Any $100 purchase through the app will deliver it for free to your house, and people are taking us up on it. So it's really extended our pawn shop outside of the brick and mortar walls of the building and given our customers the convenience of being able to do business with us fee-free from anywhere they want to do business with us.
That's fantastic. We love hearing that, right? Where something is actually a revenue generating tool for you, but it's also helping you exceed client expectations, right? And really provide a fantastic experience for
Well, it was super timely, with the virus coming out, that, we had the ability to provide a touchless transaction for all these customers that were looking for that right at that particular time. So it was really easy to get people to subscribe to our mobile app in that environment. And once they subscribed and started using it, they loved it. We got lots of good feedback on it.
That's great. Thank you so much. I'm going to move on here just so that we can leave plenty of time at the end, but let's talk about employee and customer experience as it relates to technology. And Brian, I'm going to start these questions off getting your perspectives, but can you talk about, you know, how Bravo or just how technology in general, if you'd like to keep it agnostic, is impacting your employee experience? I'm also going to ask a really direct question because this is something we hear actually from the market, and so we want to make sure that we address it in a direct way. But do you feel that the Bravo estimator is helping you improve employee performance? Do you use it as a training tool, as opposed to, you know, I think that sometimes there's a fear out there that the estimator may be a crutch versus an actual enablement tool. So could you talk about some of those things, employee experience as it relates to tech?
So that was a concern I had when I was first learning about Bravo, is the estimator will start skewing my employees and how they lend money. But on the backside of Bravo, you can adjust how that estimator works. You can adjust it up or down to your liking. I was with my last provider for over 15 years, and the hardest thing was switching to another provider is my current provider was working, so why switch? Like, they were doing everything I needed. I didn't know anything else even existed, so I was really closed-minded to trying something different. And it wasn't until I started learning and researching and asking questions about Bravo is when I realized the huge difference there is between two different software companies. As far as the staff, what I've also realized is a lot of my staff has been with us for a while, and I think my staff needed a little rejuvenation, a little more of a challenge as well. They absolutely love Bravo, and I actually asked my team yesterday before I got on here to make sure they all loved it, and they were all 100% yes. When we first switched over, there were about two people that did not like Bravo. It took them about a month, and then they were sold and they were Bravo, and there was no way they'd go back to the other provider. But as far as getting the employees in their buy-in, I was really intentional about prepping the team before I told them we were thinking about it, and I told them kind of the process of what everything looks like. So I tried to keep them in the loop with what was going on.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I know, you know, one of the things that I think is important to note, and maybe this is new information, maybe not, but is, you know, as customer experience, right, that's kind of like been this buzzword, and improving customer experience is so important. There's so much research out there that directly relates employee experience to positive customer experience, right? Happy employees mean happy customers. And so that's part of the reason why we're talking about this, is we know it's a shift, we know it's a change, but if employees are empowered and engaged, all that does is result in better customer experience. And you know, that's why we encourage people to take a look at things that you may not think about when evaluating tech vendors. Look at their Glassdoor reviews from their own employees, right? That's going to be an indicator perhaps of customer experience. Dallas, I was going to kick this over to you as well. I saw you nodding your head a few times. Can you talk about technology and Bravo, if you'd like, in particular around employee and customer experience?
Yeah, so I was with my other provider for 7 or so years, and like Brian said, I really didn't know that was anything else out there, because they, as far as I was handling, they were servicing me great, and it was fine, and had a good relationship. The cloud base really came into effect for me. I wanted that. I'm a little younger in the phone, so I grew up on that. Everything I've got is cloud based. I mean, I don't even, I don't store anything anywhere else. So that was a big deciding factor for me. And as far as my guys, to give you a little history, my dad's 70 that still works with me every other days, and my uncle's about 56. It was there was some fear because when we went from handwritten tickets to Pawn Master in 2013, there was a little bit of learning curve for sure. But I was also teaching my dad and uncle how to cut on a computer in the process of using one. So, but once Bravo came on, I was really fearful of having some lag time and losing some of that customer experience we've been able to provide. And I mean, it was almost seamless. I mean, of course, we did the training and that Bravo provides, and I was aware, my team was aware of what I was doing the whole time, so we had them on board, kind of looking at the process also. And now looking back, I mean, that was 6 months ago, and I can't even really think of anything that was an issue that came up there. There's no doubt my team is providing better customer service than we were in August. We just got comfortable with our other provider. It was just a kind of a mundane. There really wasn't any extras there. It wasn't your hands were tied. You were taking information and printing it on a piece of paper and letting them sign it. So there really wasn't anything there to help my customer experience. Now that my employees and my team has the different types of tools that Bravo provides, I mean, we get it every day. A review coming in that we didn't ask for, or a customer saying, I mean, I love this. This is great. My favorite line is, I didn't expect a pawn shop to be this technologically advanced. I mean, I've heard that multiple times. When I tell people I have a mobile app now, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're a genius! You created an app." And I'm like, "Well, no. It's my technology that I use here in the store." But it's like they're almost surprised because there's nobody in my area that uses the mobile app right now. So, like I said, the customer service that I'm being able to provide effortlessly, not even trying to upgrade it, has been easier for my employees and team to do that because the information that they have through the estimator, sometimes we do adjust the back end of it, but the estimator has allowed us the most of items that I can tell my team now, don't ever say no. If you don't know about this item, then rely on the pawn estimator to give it. You know, if it's too low, we'll adjust there, or if it's a little high, we can adjust that. But at least use that information to never tell your customer no. That's the biggest thing for me. I mean, I've taken in the past 6 months, I've increased what we take in just because of this.
That's fantastic. That's great. I appreciate your guys' direct responses. All right.
Can I give a comment about the employee efficiency?
Oh yeah, jump in. Go ahead, Noel.
One of the things that really impressed me when I saw the software for the very first time and almost immediately made my mind up that I was going to move to it was the dashboard. And maybe some of you guys overlooked that because you've been here for a little while, but when I saw the dashboard, it was so different than anything that I had in Pawn Master. It put right in my face and in the face of everybody that works for me all of the tasks that need to be done in order for our shop to operate efficiently. And it's really easy for pawnbroker employees when there's nobody in the store to get to chit-chatting or getting to do things that are not efficient. And it's nice that they can just, every time they look at their computer, it kind of reminds them of everything that isn't done that needs to be done. And I think it's increased the efficiency and the performance of my employees in terms of taking care of the back end of the business, as much as it's helped us in being better customer service representatives.
I tell my employees they're bubble killers. That's their job, to be bubble killers. And anyone who knows the dashboard understands what that means.
Mm-hmm.
They also know that when I look at the computer, when I walk in the store, the first thing I'm doing is looking at the dashboard. And so there's, you know, they like for those bubbles to be gone when I show up.
That's
Yes,
great.
I agree. I mean, I'm kind of OCD. I don't want any red bubbles on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got that dashboard, you know, some mornings I'd come in and think, oh, let's get a slow start, or I might check my whatever. And now, first thing I check, I pull my dashboard and I'm like, well, damn, I've got my to-do list right there. And it gives the accountability to my employees. So it makes them feel, because they know how much I don't like the red bubbles being there, and so they want to work on those as much as I do, because they know how much I count on them to do that and to get rid of them. The good point, Noel. The dashboard, I hadn't said anything, but it keeps accountability high in my store also.
Mark, go ahead. Were you going to add something to that conversation?
Well, not to that, but the earlier statements about customers and the employees, their satisfaction. The customers are much more confident in us because everything that comes in is scanned with barcodes. It's all processed in a repeatable and consistent manner across all the employees, not different based on how they feel that day. When they come and get it, the employee brings the item out, they scan the barcode again before they give it back to the customer. So it can be identified that they are getting exactly what they brought in. So there's less human error issues, which makes the employees much more confident because they know they're not screwing up. I mean, you know, the employees don't come to work in the morning, you know, saying, well, what can I mess up today? So they're always concerned with how can I do a better job? So the Bravo Tools has helped them become more confident in what they do because, you know, we have a couple of people within the company that are GIA certified. And so those folks can do the diamonds and so forth without a problem. But the rest of the staff really doesn't have much of a clue other than their own experience over time. So with the estimator, it allows everybody to be a kind of a gemologist, and they can go to the estimator. They can say how many stones they have. The examples of color and clarity are really easy to understand, and they know that if they can go outside the guidelines of the estimator, and that's part of what their job is to evaluate the situation. But they know if they stay within that ballpark that they're not going to get in trouble. They're not just going to pull a number out of the air and then end up making a bad loan. So that's how the technology has helped the customers and the employees in my businesses.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kathleen, I keep cutting you off, but to add one thing to that, it's you know, we need to have a Zoom meeting that's just Bravo life hacks. A life hack here for you: if you don't use your barcode scanners for things like UPCs and serial numbers, it took my guys a while to figure that out. UPCs and serial numbers, if you want to put something in Bravo and you don't want to type in what in the world it is into the estimator or the smart search, use those UPCs and barcode, the serial number barcodes too. And not to mention the fact that when you get shipments from vendors, use barcode. Anytime you see a barcode, Bravo can utilize it. It can leverage it. So it's a life hack there.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. That was great. And I think I appreciate us spending some time on that because we know that is a concern and it's a valid concern. How do I roll this out? How will my employees use it? I don't want to lose control, right, of how I'm managing, but I appreciate the perspective that it's actually empowering your employees and allowing you to manage perhaps in a more effective way, which is really important. All right, so Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot here to help just provide some advice. You don't have to run through all of these questions, but no doubt we have people on the line who maybe for the first time considering 2 or 3 platforms at the same time. They may be currently on another solution and maybe looking to change. So can you talk about, you know, some of the things that were part of your criteria list when you were making your decision? Would you have done anything differently? What are some questions that perhaps listeners haven't thought of that they should really be asking to make sure that they're partnering with the right company for this investment?
Right. Sure. I guess, you know, I'm somewhat technology proficient, but I always had a fear of losing control. So cloud-based to me meant I don't have control over what's going on. If I had it in-house on my computer within my network, then my database is under my control. So early on, with another company, as I mentioned early on, we had I had thought that it'd be really great if they could sit at their terminals and look stuff up on eBay and help them determine the values. Well, it didn't take long before we found out that not only were they looking at eBay, but they were looking at other things, and we ended up getting viruses and all kinds of stuff. And this is way back. But so we came to a conclusion to keep our network sterile, not put anything into it, keep total control, backups by stick with the manager, go home every day. So the hardest thing for me was to get the thought that I'm going to have to release control of that stuff. But once I came to the realization that security levels now are fabulous, that everything is done through the internet now. That Bravo has a policy of helping, not obstructing you. If you decide you don't like Bravo for some reason, which I can't imagine why somebody would, but then Bravo will help you move to another platform if that's what you need to do. So that took away all the fears that I had of keeping control of all my stuff. It also meant that I got my database backed up more times than I was able to, and they have mirrored sites that keep themselves so that they always have my data. Once we got past that, we took about 6 months to do due diligence. We talked to Pawnmaster and to Bravo and a couple of others, but we narrowed it down to Pawnmaster and Bravo. We looked at what is it? We made I hate to sound this way, but I made a spreadsheet with all the different companies and all the different key features that I was looking for to get the benefits that I was trying to accomplish. And then for each company, we went down those lists and tried to compare them apples to apples. I think all the companies, the company I had at first was a great database management tool. That's about all it did. For what it did, its price was inexpensive, but it gave value for what it did. Pawnmaster had some great things to offer, more than XPawn did, which was my original software, and they were reasonable value for what they could do. But nobody that I found in the industry could do what Bravo does. And so while Pawnmaster was an improvement from where we were, it wasn't a quantum leap forward. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to make a change, I'm going to go to the best platform I can find that gives me the most functionality and will carry me through the future. I'm a third generation pawnbroker. My son came into business a few years ago. He's the fourth generation, so I expect that this system will carry him forward during his time. So within the criteria, one of the most important things, we have 4 locations. In the old system, I had to actually physically go to a place to move something from one place to the other. I had to go to a place to look over pull lists and to do management at that place. I had to pull reports, and I had to go to that place, to each of those stores. Now I don't do that. Now it's all integrated. I can look across the company. I can see what the inventory level is. I can see what, for a specific type of inventory or a particular model of something, where we might have that in the company. Used to customers would say, well, gee, it'd be nice if do you have a so-and-so? Well, I'd have to call all the other stores and say, hey, you got any of these? Now I just go to the computer and I pull it up and I can say, well, we got 2 of them in Bristol and 1 of them in Kingsport. And so those things have made it much easier. My previous software wouldn't even think about talking about QuickBooks integration. PondMaster said it was something that they were pursuing, but I know from conversations with them 5 years ago that they were pursuing it then. And so when I talked to them 8 months ago, they're still pursuing it. Bravo doesn't. So, there's I guess the things that I would recommend to everyone who's interested is that you define a goal of what you're trying to accomplish. If you just want a good database management tool, then there's others out there that just do that. But if you want a system that'll take you into the future, then they wouldn't be the one. So define the goal, define the resources that you're going to need, both hardware, personnel, and physical resources. Identify what your requirements are. Like I said, make the spreadsheet, put down what you want to have accomplished by them. Identify and analyze the risks in making a change. And then try to make sure that you look at this objectively. I asked all the companies that I talked to if they could tell me what they thought about their software. I asked them if they could give me a list of customers I could call, and then I asked them what they thought about the software. And I asked, so each one of them, and when I talked to them, they would say, well, I like this and I like that, but I had a problem with this one or that one. Nobody is everything to everybody. So you just have to kind of ferret your way through that stuff to get to what's important to you. And then lastly, I'd say that you need to look and see, and I guess one of the key kickers for me with Bravo is that the integration is just absolutely amazing. Their innovation is continual. Their support is just best in class. They have a solution center where they have videos and tutorials and, I mean, stuff that most companies never even think about. And then on top of that, you can submit a case to ask and say, I need some help doing something or other. Generally, within just a short period of time, one of the Bravo people will call you and say, I understand you need help with this or that. And you go through the problem, they resolve it right then, and you move forward. So I just can't say enough about how impressed I've been with what they do. But you need to go through with yourself and decide what it is you want, and then find the company that makes that fit.
Great, thank you. That was.
I wanted to comment about the help news.
Yeah, go ahead, Noel. Jump in.
You guys, yeah, one of my jobs in my past life was evaluating software for other businesses and helping them make that choice. And so I took a really hard look at Bravo before we decided to move off of PondMaster. And it wasn't just that the features that we were looking for were there, the web integration was there, the mobile app was there, the eBay integration was there. I was sort of a guinea pig for PondMaster, and I paid like $5,000 for their E4O product, which was supposed to give you the eBay integration. And after using it for a week, all my employees rebelled and just went back to posting directly on eBay. PondMaster had to give me a $5,000 credit because the stuff sucked. And I want to say that the migration was my biggest concern, because you're taking all of my historical data from every one of my customers, their active loan information, and bringing it over in one fell swoop. And I was concerned about that. And I cannot say enough just how easy the migration was, how qualified and smart the tech support people are that were taking care of us during the migration. And not just the point person or the success manager, but every tech that we interacted with. And I'm critical of techs because I used to supervise a help desk and a bunch of techs. And I was concerned about it being in Jamaica. I'll tell you, they were so good, so knowledgeable, so hand-holding. I don't think that during the entire migration of 4 stores that we had to call tech support more than 1 or 2 times because they had pre-thought of our questions, pre-coached us on how to deal with stuff, and took all the stress out of the migration, told us what we were going to expect before it happened. Everything turned out exactly as they had told us. They then, after the migration, went back in and compared reports from Bravo post-migration to my Pondmaster system pre-migration, and down to the penny, every single item came over clean. There was no need to go back and do any cleanup of any kind. So the tech support people are a huge asset to Bravo, and I've gotten to really like those guys. And every time I talk to them, they're friendly and helpful. And I would say if you have any concerns about migrating and the kind of support that you're going to get from Bravo during and after the migration, you can let go of those because it was a very handheld, Nordstrom service kind of experience.
Thank you. That is a great perspective. And I think both Mark and Noel, you guys have touched on some important things, which is, looking at kind of the software, right? Which is, yes, there's features and functionality. And of course, that's important based on what it is you're trying to accomplish. But, signing a contract with the company as a partner, right? And so there's more to that. It's what happens when I sign in the dotted line, and what does that support look like? And what does the migration process? And you have a product roadmap, and are you improving that product in a relevant way on a consistent basis, which is what every software company, if they're a SaaS company, should be doing. Can I get references? Are there customers who you'll actually let me talk to? So I think all of those things, what are the employees saying about that organization? All of those things together can help someone make a decision around what I think would be like a good partner, right?
And real quick, what's obvious to me was the same on or any of the other products that I looked at. It was really obvious that the person that created Bravo had been in the pawn business and understood not just the transaction, but understood all the nuances that go into a successfully operated, successfully managed, successfully secured pawn shop. Right down to managing the money and the integration with QuickBooks. It's really obvious. My bookkeeper likes the way that Bravo does the
Oh, we may have lost Noel there.
That was a cliffhanger.
Sorry about that. My book likes the QuickBooks integration with Bravo 100 times better than the QuickBooks integration that we were using with the Pondmaster, where every single DVD sale was a line item in QuickBooks. My QuickBooks got to like multiple terabytes, So just the details and the fact that it's really clear to me that the person who created this company, created this software, had been running pawn shops and really understands what we face as owners in managing the success of our customers and the success of our employees.
Thank you for that additional perspective. I think that's something we try to communicate, right? But us saying it doesn't mean nearly as much as you guys saying that. So, all right. So I'm going to change this slide. I'm going to put everybody in a hot seat just for 30 seconds. So get ready. And really what I think would be great for our listeners to hear is, right, as business owners, as people who have made tech investments, can you provide perhaps one thing you would have done differently? Knowing what you know now, would you have purchased sooner or made different choices during your eval process? So Dallas, I'll go ahead and I'll start with you. If you can leave a closing thought around those questions for our listeners.
Well, so I had, like I said, I came in the business about 2013. We were still writing handwritten tickets. I took the first solution I could find was Pondmaster, and it was a database that kept customers, and that's basically all it did for me. One of my biggest fears I had was swapping over, like I said, trying to get my employees caught up technically, but also all my data and conversion. So I sell a lot of new products. I'm a big gun shop. Got a lot of new used barcodes and different things. The reason that it took me so long to make that leap was one, I was terrified that I was going to come in and it just be a nightmare. And during that process, the conversion process, the Bravo customer support team, they were real kind of nonchalant about it. And I'm like, man, this is a serious deal for me. And literally I left at 5:30 one night, came in, opened my store about an hour early. We kind of worked through a few small kinks, and I opened for business that next day writing tickets. And so that fear I had was not there at all. All my customer loans or contracts, however you call them, came over seamless. All the customer info, even my customers on the new that existing from the old system to the new, I would come in and say, hey, look, this is just going to be a new receipt. Nothing's going to change for you and your part. It looks a little different. And almost every one of them was like, oh, I love the information. I love how much detail is in it. They felt more, I guess, at ease that they could see it was clearly marked. The descriptions of their items are so much more in detail. That was the only thing that was even a hiccup in my conversion was Bravo wanted so much details on the front end of the loan. Some of them, it just was vague, and I had to go through there and tweak it and teach my team, hey, look, on these old existing stuff, we just got to change it. But what sets them apart, I think, is the customer service. And like somebody said earlier, they want to make it. They want to give you the tools and equip you to be successful. I've only been with them since October of last year, and I think I've been through 3 or 4 updates, and they're always asking us as customers, hey, what can we do better? Do you have a suggestion? Is it better done this way? And I've even put some in, and I mean, they listen to me. It's not like it's falling on deaf ears. Hey, we're working on it. We get that. Hey, we're working on it. It's coming. It's working on it. That when they tell you, hey, they're working on something, I mean, I'm getting a call back from tech support saying, now explain this, walk me through this. How does this help? What's the advantage? And once I relay that information, hey, this is an advantage for me. It would probably help other customers. They take a hard, serious look at it and implement it. That's the biggest thing. We can all, as business owners, hire consultants and go through programs and get all the advice in the world, but unless you implement something, really is not there. It just doesn't do anything for you. So really, that's what sets Bravo, I think, and why I went with them as a partner, because I do look at them as a partner in my business. One, the customer service is outstanding. Two, it enables my employees and team to give better personal service. So if that's not a partner for you, I don't know who is. I mean, they're legitimately concerned about my business, I feel like, every day. The solution center of if you have an issue, I mean, I hadn't had a down day since October. I know that was another big fear with the cloud-based that, I had a lot of people telling me they're going to be down, you're going to be doing this and that. We're going on 6-7 months. I've never been down a day. And if I've had anything major, I mean, I can get on the Bravo Pawn Chat group on Facebook, and I mean, within minutes, somebody's addressing my situation. And usually it's a pretty quick fix, mainly because of my inability. I mean, I just hadn't been versed in it. They already have that solution out there. I can't say enough though. And also I went with Bravo on the way they support our industry, not just me, but how they are forward thinking, how the leadership at Bravo was in the pawn industry. And like somebody said before, you can tell the system was built by a pawnbroker, no doubt. And that I didn't really see before. I didn't think that was a big deal. It is a huge deal, a very big deal, that somebody was in the trenches, loaning money, knows what's going on out there, and implements it. It's just, I mean, I can't see of anything else. I know Mark was talking about his son carries on. My two sons are 7 and 5, and I would go out on a limb saying they're going to be using Bravo, no doubt, for the rest of our business, I would say, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Dallas. Brian, we haven't heard from you in a little while. Any, just kind of like last minute advice, anything that you would, that perhaps you would have done differently, or changes you would have made more quickly as it relates to, to technology and adopting that, or just any kind of parting advice?
Yeah, this is easy, because when you're passionate about something and then you know something works and you love it, it is so easy to talk about. If anybody out there, I don't know how many people we have on this Zoom, but if anybody's out there is on the fence whether I should switch to Bravo or not, guys, do it. I should have done this a long time ago. I can't even imagine where my stores would be if we would have done this 5 years ago. I've had the highest service charges I've ever had in January. We got all 4 stores on Bravo, I think, by November or October. We had the highest service charges ever January. I contribute that to the Mobile Pawn app, me personally. All the fears you have, all the concerns you have, all that, I promise you from experience, I sat idle for probably 6 or 8 months trying to decide, is Bravo the next step for us? What if I don't like it? What if my team doesn't like it? What if, right? Because all I knew was the 15 years of what I had worked, so why change it? Now that I'm here, man, guys, do it. Just do it. And you can always, what helped us tremendously was, one, we did a few Zoom calls with Tally and a few of the support, and they shared their screen and we could actually see Bravo, how it worked. I think I watched a few YouTube videos. If you type in Bravo, I think there's a few out there. But what helped me the most was I got to go to a store that's about an hour away from me, a friend of ours, or he's a friend of ours now. I didn't know him before, but he has Bravo, and Bravo put me in touch with him, and I got to go to his store, and I spent half a day with him, and he showed me all the ins and outs of Bravo. And after I left that day, I was completely sold in. So that was huge for me. I saw in the comments down there, I haven't read them, but I saw QuickBooks come up. We do have all of our stores integrated with QuickBooks. It goes seamless, and it's so big. It's really good. So I appreciate you guys. And the last thing I want to mention is the last provider I was with for 15 years, I can't even remember, I don't recall any updates that came across that were just like, wow, look at this. Since I've been on Bravo for 6 months, I've seen e-receipts come up. I've seen, what else? The review link come up. What I've noticed is Bravo is very proactive in trying to get better as a company every day, which for me is super big, because I strive as a company. How do we improve? How do we move the bar? How do we continue to take the next right steps? And I'm seeing Bravo do the exact same thing I'm doing. So go with it.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Toby, how about you? Any last things you'd like to say, or just advice in general you'd like to provide?
Sure. So I used to work for a software company selling really high-end engineering software. One of the things I used to say in a sales pitch, I was in sales, and one of the things I used to say was, no one wants to buy software. People want to buy solutions, and solutions come from companies that develop, sell, and support good software. And so that was the thing. I came over from Pawn Master, and I couldn't tell you the name of my sales rep, any support people I knew. I couldn't tell you the name of anyone in that company. But pretty quickly, I got to know a lot of people within the Bravo group. So that was the big differentiator, is partner with a company. And I would just absolutely echo what Brian just said, which is they're really aggressive about growth. I always tell my team, I say, I don't want to be 1 step ahead of the competition. I want to be 2, 3, 4, 10 steps ahead of the competition. And that's what I've seen with Bravo is constant improvement, constant support, constant development with the software. Always doing something new that you're like, wow, I didn't even think the software would do that. And you see it in the next release. So that's been great.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate having a background in SaaS myself. I appreciate that perspective. Thank you. Noel, do we have you on the line?
Yep.
All right, great. Any last parting advice or perspectives that you feel would help inform or educate our attendees today?
You asked what I would done earlier, and I would have joined the National Pawnbrokers Association and come down and met you guys 5 years earlier. It was really an eye-opening for me when I met with Tally at the booth and we went over the software. I think I was almost immediately sold on the software because number one, the dashboard, they showed us some of the reporting, they showed us the eBay integration that actually worked. What it has really done for my business is, the only thing that would make me switch from one software company to another is I want to make more money as a business owner. The only reason I've got 4 pawn shops is I'm here to make money. And Bravo has allowed me to differentiate my business from the other pawn shops around this area in the way that I extend more services and more convenience and a better shopping experience and a better pawning experience to our customers. In the 6 months or so since we've implemented Bravo, I am up 30 grand on the street. My pawn shop, a friend that is 6 miles away from me using Pawnmaster, is down 30 grand on the street. My sales during this COVID-19 period of time are like record highs because people are buying stuff on our mobile app and not even having to come into the store or delivering it. You've given me a bunch of tools to utilize to do a better job for my customer, and the customers in my market have seen what we're doing. They've completely embraced the mobile app and the website integration for our sales engine, and they have chose to do business with us over some of our competitors that are sticking with the old way of doing business. And I can tell you that several of my competitors are like looking at me like, man, how does he do all of that? Because I make it sound really complicated when I talk to him. But really, it was just the choice to come down and see you guys and the choice to make the purchase of Bravo. I had some of the same fears that some of the other folks had. It's a big change. You're doing it over the course of 4 stores in 3 different towns, over 350 miles apart. How's it going to go? And it went flawlessly. If I could give anybody any advice, it would be don't wait, don't hesitate, make the switch and then start making more money, because it has truly increased the gross profit production at every one of my stores since we rolled it out.
Awesome, man. Healthy sales numbers are a beautiful thing. Who doesn't want to see that on their reporting? That is great. And we're glad to hear that as well. And Mark, how about you?
Well, it's for me, it's the difference between having a software vendor versus having a strategic partner. And had we had an opportunity earlier on to do this, then it would have moved us further, faster. But there's no time like the present to do something, and this is ultimately going to help our business. So I know there's a lot of trepidation in terms of making the change, but you owe it to yourself to really take a close look at what Bravo has to offer.
Wonderful. Thank you. Tally and Ryan, because I know we're over time right now, but it looks like everyone's still on the line. People aren't dropping off. Are there questions that have come into the chat and Q&A that you'd like to kind of read out loud and provide answers for, just to make sure that all their questions are answered?
Yeah, I've got a list going. Some of these I think would be good for perhaps another panel specific to mobile pawn or specific to e-commerce, and get people who are really interested in those particular features. But Noel, are you using, I think anybody that's using Bravo's integrated e-commerce via eBay, company branded, if you can just talk briefly about that, and what that integration looks like. I know everybody says they have an integration. They all look a little bit different. They all function or don't function. So if you can talk a little bit about what your experience with Bravo's e-commerce integrations have been.
My experience has been, I came from Pondmaster and I attempted to do e-commerce integration through them, and it was a total failure. They dropped it for about 4 years, and then they tried to talk me into trying it again when I was down there visiting with you guys at your booth. They showed it to me, and it looked like a DOS application running in a window on a mobile phone. It was terrible. And customers, employees, everybody that we work with today is used to a certain look and feel to how an e-commerce website should look. The way the product is laid out on the screen, the menu bar, and how all that is located. And other companies' web integrations, on Master in particular, looks like their desktop window, if you run for them, and it doesn't look like a real retail presence. If you go to alaskafastcash.com, click on our shopping tab on our website, you'll see a genuine e-commerce shopping site with menus and categories, and it looks exactly like people that shop online at Amazon and other big retail sites are used to. It matches the experience that they're expecting when they log on. The mobile app is no different. It has the exact same menu system, the exact same professional, finished look and feel, and it inspires confidence in the buyer that their transaction is safe. It fits up with all their paradigms. When they look at it, it's the way it's supposed to look. It's clean and it's organized. One of the things we did, we hired photographers at every one of our stores, set up a white background and professional cameras and professional lights, and we photographed 1,100 items at each one of our stores. So all of our photographs, when you look at them, are high resolution, clean, suspended in a white background, and very professional. And Bravo just makes us look good. The e-commerce integration makes us look good. Where Pondmaster failed early was making sure that if something sold on eBay, that it also took it off of your inventory in your store. Whereas with you guys, we can have an item on the floor. We don't have to take it off the floor to put it on eBay. We have it on the floor. We have it on the website. We have it in the mobile app. And if the transaction, an item sells in any of those places, Bravo takes care of removing it from being sold in any of the other locations. And that has worked flawlessly, and it's kept us from making mistakes, double selling something and not being able to deliver to one of the customers. So it works good, it looks good, it inspires confidence. The way that the web offers come in the dashboard is very nice. It's just another one of those red bubbles. You have an offer, you can see it. And once you take care of the web offer, I like the web fulfillment piece and how the tracking numbers are utilized. It just makes for a seamless delivery. It helps us maintain a good reputation with our web buyers, and it's easy. All of my employees have been able to do web offers and web fulfillments with just minimalist amount of training. And so the ease of integration, the quality and the fit and finish of the way that it looks, everybody enjoys using it. And I can't say enough good things about it because I tried for 5 years at my previous software vendor to get here, and you guys were here on day one when I signed up. Like day one, this was already done, and it was really welcome. And every single day we go to work now, we have 1 or 2 or 3 web sales. We're hitting $400 or $500 a day in web sales, and our goal is a couple thousand. We do a couple thousand in sales, brick and mortar sales at each store, and we're trying to hit the same amount of web sales as we do in store. And if we can, I believe we will. That is a game-changing financial decision that we made to go with you guys.
Can I speak on how easy it is to list real quick?
Yeah.
So with the e-commerce, it is super, super easy to get your stuff on your store branded website and your bio website. Super easy. There is no extra work, no work at all involved. When a customer comes in and you write the loan, or when you do the purchase on Bravo, you're entering all the information in. You're in the picture. You're doing all that. When the item forfeits, or when the when the buy comes up to expire, right when you expired it and price it, it automatically goes on your website. You don't have to think, did I put it on my website? Did I not? You don't have to do any of that. It's so seamless. And then if it sells in the store, it automatically comes off the website. Basically, everything we're pulling and defaulting and buying goes directly on our website. I don't have to do anything. If it sells in store, I don't have to do anything. It all works so flawlessly. And the same with eBay. The only difference eBay, you just check mark you want it on eBay when you're pricing it, and that's it, and you're done.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Tally, in there that you feel would warrant some input at this point from the panelists?
I don't think so. I want to try to be respectful of all of our panelists' time for being here for an hour and 15 minutes. So thank you. We were hoping that this panel would prompt enough interest and responses that we can do more of these that are really like topic focused. And I think that we've proven that, and that people that are making this decision have more, questions about particular products and features and how those have benefited pawn shops. So we'll keep doing these as long as they're helpful for everybody that's trying to make a decision. I think e-commerce and mobile pawn would be the next one because that's where most of the questions are focused.
Yeah, absolutely. I can take that as a takeaway for marketing to be working on putting some of these more together. I think the Ask the Expert is great.
So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our panelists. Really appreciate your feedback. One of the things that was important to Kathleen as we were putting this together is how do we get honest feedback from customers too, so that we can take this as a learning experience from maybe what worked or what they would have done differently or how their conversions went, and can we use that to better the way that we onboard customers, like, if you're deciding to come on board. So thanks again for being here. We really, really appreciate it. Our team is available to ask questions. My email is tally, Tally, @baya.com. You can submit a form through our website. You can talk to Christy, Kristy, @baya.com. You can call us. We're available. We'd love to answer your questions. And thanks for the opportunity to in bringing us along your buying process. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And thank you so much to all the panelists. You guys are just awesome. This was great.
Thanks for having us. Enjoy it.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.